Hello and welcome back to episode 18 of Sherlock Holmes, Chapter 1. I'm Vic, and you're watching yet another Let's Play channel. And I was wondering, in between episodes, what was making all of that noise in the water. I guess I shouldn't have been surprised. So at the end of the last episode, we heard Vogel's testimony, and I feel like I already dug into most of this stuff here. Is there more for me to find? This is where we came back in, right? Yeah, this is the dressing room. We checked out that stuff. We checked out that missing stuff. We checked out that stuff. I think the looming question at the moment, right, is where's the woman? Matista, whom I accused of doing it. So there's some more blood.
The wounded person was here for some time. A bloody handprint on an armchair.
And we also noticed that there was blood on the handle of the knife. So one might assume that there is an additional wounded person, mayhap.
A person leaned against the doorframe. They left a smudged trail of blood. There appear to be no further traces leading to the altar.
So, Sherry, do you have any ideas about the case?
Perhaps. I think I can deduce what happened here.
Or maybe our deadman is actually... No. What did he do? Could he have knifed himself in an attempt to frame someone? That would seem odd, wouldn't it? John, I wish I could dress you up in a G-string. No. Maybe. Yes. What do we have over here? That seems likely. Oh, I see. Is it Deadman or is it Matista? Yeah, let's go with that one. Alright, good. And off to the smoky room. Well, that hand doesn't match up with that handprint, does it? What's going on in the other one? Bracing on the chair? That does line up with the handprint. Yeah? That's what we surmised happened there. What are the other choices? No, we don't think that happened here. Yeah, bonk bonk on the head, dragged him out to the altar, and stuck him. Now what's going on back here? Doing a little wash. Yeah, they washed their hands. They didn't wash their robes, because they stashed their robes. What's the other choice? Yeah. I believe that's it.
You're not even trying, Sherry. Concentrate.
Shut up, John. So what doesn't add up here? All of these seem to be the correct. No, I disapprove of your disapproval, John. Ah, it wasn't him washing his hands. That's what it was.
The bottle was used as a weapon during a scuffle in the smoking lounge. Then, to ensure no one would interrupt, the murderer locked the door. The unconscious body of the victim was moved to the altar room. Once the body was on the altar, the murderer thrust the dagger into the victim's heart. Symbols were drawn with the blood. The wardrobe was used to hide the bloody robe from anyone's eyes. The killer washed himself and took a clean robe from the hanger before leaving.
Are you alright? You're on the floor, not moving.
I think I know what happened here.
So let's see what we've got in our mind palace here. Fabio's key remains untouched. Yes. Good, good, good. Do any of these things really need to be connected? I don't know. Oh. If you say so. Alright, what do we got? The murderer had a key to the altar room. Fabio was killed in a ritual murder. The ritual was a cover. Well, the ritual was a cover. Because if it had been a ritual, he would have died on the altar. And he did not.
I'm starting to put the pieces together.
Fabio was stabbed.
I see nothing gets past you, Werner. Yes, he was stabbed, but only after being knocked out in the next room and placed here. I do not yet know why.
So, who's responsible?
Well, it was one person working alone, and the murderer has now donned a robe. He or she could be hiding in plain sight. We have lost time, Werner, but your discretion may prove to be a benediction after all. The murderer had to have access to this room. After the crime, he used his own key to lock the door. So, who had the key to the altar room?
I'm not sure. As a special guest, I was provided one by Mr. Manchios. He should be able to tell you of any others.
Where can I find him?
Most likely in the main hall, entertaining his guests. He has a mask with golden stars. You can't miss him. But please be discreet. We don't want to risk disturbing the revelry.
Okay, so can we have some consistency here? Some of the time we're referring to the murderer as themself, and sometimes we're referring to him as him.
I know you can untangle this mess.
And, him is the grammatically correct pronoun to be used, especially during this time period. No, I'm not interested. So we need...
Sherlock, don't forget to find the information I need before the guests leave.
Okay, John, but what if I deliberately don't find the information you quote-unquote need before the guests leave? Besides, I want to talk to a starface. Are you a starface? No. Most of these folks' masks have a... Yeah, the Peckard... the Peckard pattern. That is not the word that I meant to choose. Why did this turn purple? Was it purple before? Is our friend back here? Oh, that's a needle. These guys are partying hard. There's somebody back there, but I can't disturb them. Alright, John, because I'm feeling generous, I will take one more pass at your stupid article. But I can't say I'm going to work very hard at it. These are the people that I eavesdrop on before. What have you got on your mask? That's too intricate and you move around too much. Yeah, all I hear is like people laughing and stuff. Have I been back this way? Oh yeah, that's where John is partying. I still don't think you like ladies, John. Where's the host? Do I need to pin that? Probably. Flat earther. Who cares, Sherlock?
I need a rest from my insatiable wife.
Well, if you're lucky, somebody else is satiating her right now.
Let me see that stallion up close.
Not helpful.
Can I ask you a question?
I can't help you with that, sir.
You haven't seen our host? How about you?
Is this familiar to you?
Don't take it personally, sir. But I know nothing about this.
Time to check your who, what, and what,
John,
Sherry.
I don't care.
Then you ask
That's
you
not a helpful
about
thing to
what
say,
and dressed
and
as
you
what.
just insist on saying it anyway. Well, if he's not in here, then where the hell is he? Maybe now that I've pinned something, I can investigate that curtain that clearly has somebody behind it? No? Come on, Sherlock. Your powers of observation should be more than adequate to detect the guy with stars on his face.
Can you satisfy my curiosity?
Oh, sir, I'm afraid I don't know about that.
I feel like that one should get a saucier reaction around here. Some kind of pun about satisfaction. Alright, well, of all the silly things, I guess I'm gonna pause while I find the stupid host. Talk to you soon.
Codex Orchis. Why does this occult book sound like a flower? Romantic poetry and prose. Someone's in touch with their feelings. These medieval botany and chemistry books look even more satanic than the occult ones. Well-known and recent plays to keep up to date with the current trends. Kurt Manchios, I presume. I'm Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, you must be the one Werner told me about. What a sweet voice you have. It must belong to a handsome young man. Can I call you Sherlock?
As you wish, Mr. Manchios. Mr. Vogel asked me to help you. The body in the altar room requires answers, and quickly. I suspect the murderer to still be here.
What? Lower your voice. I don't want anyone to hear us.
Did you know Fabio well?
People are starting to look at us, Sherlock. Change the subject. I can't believe what happened to him. To me. Such an atrocity. Think what it means for me. A wonderful evening for so many good, influential, and rich people has been ruined. I have betrayed all my promises of exotic delights.
I don't understand. Surely a murder would affect your reputation to a greater extent.
Please, isn't this why you are here? I thought you were a silent magician. Do your tricks and make it go away.
Well, I think you misunderstand the situation. Yeah, we're back, by the way. In case you hadn't noticed. How would you not notice? Are you paying attention?
I need to find all those who had the key to the altar room. As far as I know, Mr. Vogel, Fabio, and you had access to it. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes. Also, Matista and Santos.
Santos? Who is that?
Santos Pinchetti, my major domo. In his opinion, at least.
I'd like to speak to Mr. Pinchetti and Matista. Do you have somewhere I might have a private conversation with them?
Of course, of course. Let me think. Matista is entertaining the guests somewhere, and Santos... Oh, yes. He will be busy with the servants. Or the cook. What's that noise? What's going on?
That sounds like gunfire. Now your party's
Freeze,
properly
filth.
ruined.
You're under arrest.
Oh, it's a proper raid. I think these guys are having too much fun. But maybe the guests got their exotic delights after all.
Committed a crime, and now I have to free you, kiss your hand, and apologise for the inconvenience. Your Grace.
I did tell you that Mr. Vogel and I were innocent. I emphasized it in my statement.
Your statement? Thanks to some bigwigs who work for the so-called good of the country by releasing fleas like you. Thank God we have Vogel in his letter. Once I get to that goldfish, I'll...
Bigwig. Oh, my wretched brother Mycroft and his long nose.
Wait, did you say Mycroft? Mycroft Holmes? Are you the youngest son of Violet Holmes, rest her soul?
Oh, it seems we've stumbled back into the main event.
You knew my mother?
Not personally, no. Not exactly. I was working on the paperwork for that case.
Would you happen to remember anything of the events?
Well, I didn't make the inquiry, but I remember seeing some notes. Why?
Perhaps we can negotiate. I could be quite useful.
Huh. Got you hooked, right? You know what? Stark and the others think they're the smartest here, thanks to you. Let me get this straight. Are you listening to me, lad?
I'm all ears.
Take this case. Report to me only, to Constable Harvey Oswald. I'll leave everything I have on this table. Find the murderer. Be a real copper. Question the suspects, make them sing, give me something substantial.
And if Mr. Vogel is not a suspect?
If he's innocent, then you can take your favourite degenerate away from here. If you slip or mess with the evidence, then trust me, your brother won't save you from my bludgeon. Meanwhile, I'll be checking the archive for you. If anybody asks, then you're a consulting detective.
Let's make a start then, partner.
All right, so there you go. Now we have
should
our...
have listened to the guests there. Now I have nothing to write about.
Fuck you, John. Now we have our stand-in for Lestrade, and also our consulting detective role. Following a report from a witness of the satanic ritual who claimed to have found a body, the raid on the Manchio's mansion was granted. It resulted in the arrest of multiple suspects and dispersal of the group in masks and robes caught in acts of gross indecency and unnatural behavior. That's how they referred to sex in these days. The body of the victim also, was found lying on an altar with a knife wound in his chest. The officers identified the victim, Fabio, 20, a local performer and artist. Arrested suspects, V. Vogel, had a letter of an insulting nature in his possession, which had been written by the victim. He claims to have found the body. He is infamous for his eccentric personality. S. Holmes carried the murder weapon, a dagger with the victim's blood and other items of evidence. He was invited by another suspect, V. Vogel, presumably to obstruct the official investigation. K. Manchios, the owner of the mansion and organizer of the Satanic Party, paid the victim to participate in the ritual, had access to the crime scene. Matista, Fabio's partner and participant in the ritual, tried to escape, resisted arrest. Owned a book with a description of the ritual performed in the altar room. Some of the guests are temporarily detained for further questioning. Alright, well, I no longer suspect Matista. I think it's the so-called Major Domo, who is probably the one
to solve the case.
who ran off and told the Popo. The provider of this ticket has permission to inspect all evidence on case 62-60. Thank you. And the insulting letter, I presume. Nope. There it is. Santos Pincenti. Am a witness who reports a suspicion of murder at Manchios' mansion in Gran Saray. During preparations for the social party, I heard loud noises from the closed altar room. Immediately, I thought of the sacrifice of a living being, overviewed by none other than Kurt Manchios. There was blood on the walls, strange symbols, and a dagger in the heart. As soon as I was able to think clearly, I rushed to the police station to report my findings. The station responded to the deposition by sending a patrol, while the witness left the station and went home. Instruments of interrogation, one presumes, and the result of such an interrogation. Any ammo in the lockers? No. I'm short on ammo for my Thompson.
I found Werner.
I'm really, past tired of John at this point. Okay, Mind Palace, what do you have now? The murderer cleaned their self. No, the murderer cleaned himself. Suspect who should be arrested and questioned. He had a key, which he did not mention in its disposition. Yeah, I don't see anything there. Alright. What else have we got? Another interrogation room. And... oh, look, it's my friends.
Don't look at them. They'll serve us if necessary.
They'll serve us if necessary. Yeah, these guys are feeling really put out. Okay. Nothing in there. Oh. Who do we have here?
Good day, Mr. Manchios. I am Constable Oswald's partner in this investigation.
Be quick and gentle. Some of your colleagues are untrained boors. Although I don't mind meeting young officers. The new blood here.
If you cooperate in finding Fabio's murderer, there will be no need to meet with the boars again.
That voice. Werner's friend? You're the policeman. What a disappointment.
Only an undercover agent can scour a ditch full of deviants. I am a consulting detective, although I'm capable of replacing the entire department through my consultations.
Sharp-tongued, I like it. May I presume this tongue will get us out of this trouble? I would be so indebted and glad to repay you.
Nothing's changed. I'm looking for the murderer. That's the only way to get us out of trouble.
But it shouldn't take much time, correct? We're all busy, after all.
I need to examine you first.
Sorry, buddy, I don't think your hard-on's gonna last. Wears makeup. At least on this occasion. What do we have here? Washed hands in a hurry. Oh, don't tell me it was actually you for some reason. Well, you didn't run off and tattle, though, so that doesn't square. Lavishly expensive. I don't think that lavishly is really an appropriate adjective in that context. Hides his age.
You are a little over the top with your use of makeup, Mr. Manchios. Is it so difficult for you to acknowledge your age?
Well, Sherlock, that's easy for you to say to an old man when you look as though you are barely 15.
But still, it shouldn't be an issue for someone of your status.
For people of my age, it isn't an issue, no. But the younger ones can be so afraid of wrinkles and grey flecks. I have to adapt.
Such a methodical man who cares for his body but misses the soap under his fingernails. Are you so impatient, or perhaps even impulsive?
I wouldn't call myself that. Silly little details. If I missed it, it wasn't important. Or rather, it was less important than who or what I was focused on.
Mr. Vogel told me a little about your parties, but I would like to know more directly from you.
I'm all yours, Sherlock. You have me arrested and locked here with you alone.
Why did you invite Mr. Vogel as your special guest?
He's a pretty fellow. He's capable of surprising the public. He has a talent for saying words that no one else would wish to either say or hear.
I suppose I can't argue with that.
He is a free addition to the eccentricity of the party, which is fine by me, as long as it enhances my party.
I'd like to know who you usually invite to your parties.
Free minds who are able to leave reality for an evening, who can taste forbidden fruit without prejudice. There is nothing that quite spices up life like these parties, assuming one is old enough and has worked many years for the good of one's country.
Oh, all true labourers, I see. What was Fabio like? His personality, his habits? Anything you can tell me?
He was the brightest star of my parties. Young, magnetic, and full of energy. I don't even want to mention his beauty. Otherwise, I'll be sobbing.
An expensive champion, I imagine.
His performances were flawless. He deserved his payment. Do you think he was murdered because of money?
Possibly. What about the other guests? Were they used to opening their wallets as well?
I wouldn't restrict my guests from anything. I'm sure Fabio received a few coins from others for his services.
Well, I wonder what I've got in my evidence book that he might be interested in.
That's not something I know much about.
You told me the man imagines himself your major domo. I don't think we need to talk to him about that.
Do you have any idea who tipped off the police to raid your mansion, Mr. Mancio?
Of course. It was you. I could even say you Sherlocked me in here.
A good guess, but the wrong one. The fellow who did that was Mr. Pinchetti, your major domo.
What? Santos? But how could he even know? If he's not the murderer himself. The ungrateful swine. He has dared to besmirch my reputation.
Not a very eloquent choice of words.
What should I call him then, since he's a snitch? Make him talk, Sherlock. I'm quite certain he knows more about the murder than he has told the police.
Sort of a reflexive reaction, but not far from mine, so... No. 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 No.
That's not something I know much about.
Yeah, well, that's Vogel's testimony, okay.
I've no idea about that.
Mm-hmm.
You'd better ask someone else. You'd better ask someone else.
You bought an expensive pair of cufflinks for Fabio. Were they his price? Or were they a tip for an exclusive show?
It was pure business. Fabio escorted me a few times. I was merely showing my gratitude.
This pair cost a small fortune. You must be extremely grateful, then. Tell me more.
You've thrust a knife in an exposed nerve, Sherlock. Yes, he was my protégé and my beacon also. With my experience and his beauty, we could have achieved anything. I had faith in him. I would have made him.
All right, well, we'll visit the Mine Palace in a moment. Would you like to talk to me?
I'm Sherlock Holmes. I'm helping Constable Oswald. You are Matista, Fabio's friend.
This body, yes, it's Matista. But it's a mere shell that will die someday. Just like Fabio.
His end was predictable. That is harsh and untrue, Sherlock.
Please accept my condolences for your friend.
Thank you.
I'm just here to ask questions and find Fabio's murderer.
It will not bring Fabio back.
Rather interesting symbol on her chest. Let's get a closer look at it. Primitive occult tattoo. Ah, that's the same slave mark we found on Fabio. Hmm. Shackles. Shackles. Oh, we got another one? Blood-filled bruises obtained recently.
You have both old and new scars. Some from the time when you were a slave with Fabio. Other scars have a different origin. The guests pay good money to torment you?
I am skilled in giving pleasure, but I don't participate in such practices.
I thought your body was...
For sale? It's true. Many unwanted things were done to my body. And the pain helped me to discover...
Occult deities? Yes, the tattoo speaks loudly of it.
Yes. Your gods abandoned me, and the ones I favor now are more protective of me.
How did you escape?
Something happened. One night the master fell down the stairs. I made him fall, and he died. We ran away that day. We managed to get on a ship and traveled here, to Gordona. Fabio and I started a new life here. It was very hard at first, but it became better with time. Until today.
The bruises on your neck are not self-inflicted. Someone else made them.
Some guests can't contain themselves. They even bite, sometimes.
Okay, well, on that ambiguous note, we are all out of time for episode 18, so come back and see me again in episode 19, and I think we'll run down the self-appointed Major Domo and find out what he has to say for himself. Talk to you soon.